core topics such as the disciplining of the child, the integral involvement of men, and the empowerment of women in the family, parenting and associated laws, child and drug abuse, domestic violence, and teenage pregnancy. Call in to air your views and make your contributions on 459-7885 or 459-7888. Family Matters on 88.5 Sufre FM.
There was good and evil. We chose good. Why raise the time of the Most High?
Okay. Good to go. All right. Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Family Matters. I'm hoping today that more persons will be interacting with us and, of course, sending in your comments, calling, whichever way you interact. I do apologize for my voice this morning. It's not the best. I'm not sure what is happening, whether I'm coming with the flu or not. But I'm here. This morning, I must apologize on behalf of my guest who's running a little late. But of course, she will be here. I will be introducing her when she comes. I need to shout out to everybody this morning. It's a new month. Those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. And of course, we all know today is the 1st of April, and we know what happens on the 1st of April. So be very mindful when persons tell you you get a call, you go and do an errand and so on, because up to this morning, somebody tried that on me. So be very careful today, folks, because of course, it is known that April 1st is All Fool's Day. So don't let anybody make a fool of you today. Be very mindful. Shout out to all my colleagues and friends out there, human services, sister agencies, SSDF, welfare, probations, VPT, you know yourselves. A blessed good morning to you. Let us continue the good work that we do. My fellow teachers, good morning to you. And I know that you're smiling today because guess what? Vacation is coming up. Cannot speak of that anymore. So, yes. Special education, good morning. Tomorrow, God's willing, please be prepared, everybody, to wear your blue because tomorrow is All Blue Day, so that we could show awareness for autism. And kudos to all parents who are doing a marvelous job with their children and also all the support system, the schools, the centers, whoever is assisting with our children with special abilities. So good morning to all of you. Okay. This morning, we are going to be discussing NYC, the job that NYC does, what programs they have in place for us. Of course, we know that they do now have a new elective, and our president, Ms. Bonnell St. Rose, is going to be here with us this morning. And of course, she will tell you more when she comes in as to the plans this new executive has, and of course, some upcoming events, as April is deemed the month for the youth. So, as along with other things, like I said, tomorrow it's designated as Autism Day, and the month of April is designated as Youth Month. Okay, so we are hoping that we're going to get a lot of information regarding Youth Month, what is happening with the different communities, the different youth groups around the island. So we are going to get a lot of information from our guest when she comes. Alrighty. So we are going to just find out. So we call it the NYC, and of course, the National Youth Council in St. Lucia. It is a democratic, independent, and legal non governmental organization established in 1985, so long ago, and that represents over 150 youth and student organizations. It acts as the official body for youth advocacy, leadership, training, and empowerment for individuals aged 10 to 35. So, the key aspects of the St. Lucia National Youth Council, the purpose is to promote the active participation of youth in St. Lucia's economic, social, cultural, and political life. So, of course, many times you've heard that persons say the youth is not included in decision making, the youth is not included in discussions and so on. But here we are being told that the NYC, the purpose is to give the youth a voice. So kudos to the NYC. Of course, they advocate on behalf of the youth. They act on behalf of the youth in St. Lucia. The structure, it operates on the constitution with an elected executive and hosts the biennial General Assembly to ensure democratic representation. So persons are just not placed there because we like you and we believe you can work. Of course, they would be elected by the youth to represent them. So key focus areas, programs focus on leadership training, skills development, environmental awareness, and student advocacy. So examples of initiative that has been undertaken, youth advocacy, hosting workshops on anti-bullying. So this will be one of the workshops that the NYC has had, level up, no bullying business. Okay. Supporting, they also did supporting agricultural processing showcases for young entrepreneurs. And of course, they have had the ambassadors not representing only St. Lucia, but around the region and the wider world. Okay, so these are basically some of what NYC stands for, what NYC is about. And like I said, NYC means our National Youth Council. So since April is designated as Youth Month, let us speak a little about the theme for our Youth Month. My apologies for the setback. Just making sure I give you the correct information. Whilst we await our presenter, we're just giving her some time. Okay, so our National Youth Month, the theme is the self, ignite the self, impact the world. Okay, it emphasizes awakening inner potential, character, and self belief to positively impact society. Okay, other themes include arise and so. So, of course, the themes would go around the youth and how how much they can do to make a difference, to make a positive impact in society. So, Ignite the Self, Impact the World focuses on young minds, fostering conviction, discipline, and service to foster a strong nation. All right. So, within the month of April, I've been told that a number of activities will be held in the different councils. Like you have the Youth Council in Choiseul, Youth Council in Sothre, Youth Council in all the different communities in St. Lucia. Unfortunately, I do not have any of the activities that have been slated, but I'm hoping that I've noticed that not sure if it is during Youth Month, but one of the activities I've always liked during with the youth is the parliamentary debates where you have youth in parliament. I find this is a great opportunity for young persons to come out there and, of course, showcase their talents, where it is just amazing to sit back and listen to the young people debate. And I've always said that it shouldn't end there because when you hear such raw talent, it should be it should be continued. So the youth should be given an avenue to continue with this talent because um, as an adult, I am still very shy. Even if I come on the radio station here, I don't think it would be very easy for me to go out there and have a debate. I get tongue tied very easily. So kudos to the youth who can go out there. And when you hear them speak sometimes, you don't want them to stop and you'd want to hear them even over the adults sometimes because they're so eloquent and they seem to be so passionate and knowledgeable about what they discuss. So when you have the youth parliament, I believe that this should be continued. And even um, before the youth parliament, when you have the national reading competition, after the young readers have come to perform, I believe that more should be done with them to continue the reading, especially when you have the young men. When you get some very good readers who are boys, I think this talent should be nurtured. So as soon as they are recognized, I believe the school, the community, whoever, where the powers that be, should form some groups, some initiatives should be put forward to assist these young men to cultivate this very special talent of reading. So, of course, they would go out there and represent a little more. So, not just end at, okay, you were a good reader and that's it. Because, of course, we know how boys are with the language, the English language. They do not like reading, a lot of them. But quite pleasantly surprising now, we would see that there are more boys in the reading competition than before. Okay? So, yes. All right. So, let us discuss this morning. I saw in one of the programs they said about anti bullying. I wish to find out if what programs can be placed in schools so that we could, of course, curb bullying. I know bullying is not something that can be totally stopped, but of course, curbed. When someone is bullied, whether it be physical bullying, cyberbullying, or what other way of bullying that you have, it could be very dis- devastating to the person being bullied. Of course, it has an impact on your confidence, it has an impact on your self esteem, it has an impact on so many different aspects of your life. It's unfortunate that I'm not sure if it has happened in St. Lucia, but it's unfortunate that some people who are being bullied or who are bullied, has gone as far as committing suicide. But I've seen it in movies. I'm not sure if it has ever happened in St. Lucia, like I said. And some of us do not take bullying very seriously until, of course, our child or children are being bullied. So I want to call out to the authorities to take bullying a little more seriously. Where I hear that there was a hair policy developed and placed in schools, I'm not saying that it's not important, but I have not heard that there is any anti bullying policy that has been placed in schools to ensure the public that there is a no bullying and it won't be accepted in schools. So let them know that, of course, bullying is taken very seriously, and of course, there's a policy, and persons can be charged, persons can be taken to task for bullying. So if I am wrong and there is one that I have not heard of, I'd love for somebody to please correct me and let me know that there is an anti-bullying policies that has been passed in the schools. Because from what I'm hearing, I had a client of mine who used to tell me that she doesn't want to go to school because every time she goes to school, she's being bullied. All right. So I would love that an anti-bullying policy be placed in schools so that children are encouraged to come to school and, of course, they enjoy their school day. Yes.
Good morning.
So I am awaiting that a bullying policy, like I said, will be implemented in schools. All right. So thank you so much. And of course, our guest is here very late. But like I've said, I did apologize on her behalf. Okay. So welcome, Miss St. Rose. You are here finally. Thank you so much for showing up. All right. So with us this morning, we have Miss Bonnell St. Rose. And of course, as we know, she is the president of our National Youth Council. And today we are going to be speaking all about NYC, the plans, whatever activities are coming up and so on. So I'm going to pass you over to Miss St. Rose, who's going to give you a little more about herself and of course about the NYC. Over to you, Miss St. Rose.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Welcome.
Hi, good day. Sufra and St. Lucia. Voila. I'm no stranger to the youth space, so I'm Bonnell St. Rose, current president of the National Youth Council and Sufra Youth and Sports Council also. This morning we will be speaking on our Youth Month activities, as today officially marks the start of Youth Month in St. Lucia. This year we're celebrating under the theme Jeunesse en Action, learning, leading, and thriving. And yesterday we celebrated our young people in the form of an ecumenical service, which we had at the Temple of Faith Otsa Pentecostal Church. And we saw young people from across secondary schools in St. Lucia, as well as our district youth and sports councils, Minister Kenson was there. We had a phenomenal guest speaker in the name of Kithlyn Caro Afrifa. We also had NYC stalwarts, as well as invited guests who just came to celebrate our youth, our young people, and to really start Youth Month in a spiritual and grand way.
Okay, great. You mentioned the theme of Youth Month is what again, please?
Jeunesse en action, leading, learning, thriving.
Okay, so tell us a little more about your theme. What activities are catered around your theme, and do you have any idea as to why this theme was chosen for this month?
Well, the theme was chosen by our parent body, the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, as well as other stakeholders, and it was chosen prior to our elections. This is why we were not part and parcel of that process. However, usually the theme is chosen with all youth stakeholders. So NYC would normally be part of the decision making of that theme. But this year we will not. However, we've adopted that theme as part of Youth Month as well, naturally. But Jeunesse Action, Youth in Action, Leading, Learning, Thriving. And I guess, as it says, this would speak to our young people who are learning and taking up space, who are leading the charge, and who are thriving in what they do, thriving in their respective spaces, and in their circles. Not only in St. Lucia, but our young people who are abroad, our athletes, not only our athletes, those in academia, our young people are thriving globally, and we're celebrating them this year rather, in a grand way. And you would have seen, I'm not sure if persons have seen, but we dropped our Youth Month calendar yesterday, and it would basically outline all the events happening throughout the month of April across St. Lucia. And this would stem from Soufrière, across going to down to Choiseul, coming up all the way back to Grosile. And the District Youth and Sports Councils, as well as the youth workers, have put together this calendar. And they worked very hard to ensure that our young people are catered for during the month of April. So activities stem from development trainings, there are Easter art workshops, there are camps, there are brunches, there are business expos, investment workshops, there's a wellness experience happening in Castries Central, there's a sip and paint happening in Millet, there's a road relay and wellness fair happening in Lac Lery. So there are things happening across the island. In Soufrière particularly, we have youth development training happening on the 7th and 8th. The flyer should be releasing today. There is also a youth distressor by the Soufrière Youth and Sports Council happening on the 11th of April. We also have there's a youth expo also happening in Soufrière on the 12th of April, a small business expo. I believe registration is still open. So youth in entrepreneurship who want to be part of that expo, you're free to contact Alima Gonzague. This is our youth worker, to be part and parcel of that expo, to get your products out there, to bring awareness to your business, and to just showcase that skill and talent of our young people who are thriving in entrepreneurship. So Soufrière has activities. There are activities happening in Canaries as well. I think I saw something in Canaries. There's a junior chef's cookout competition on the 26th. So we're encouraging all our young people to engage and be part and parcel of Youth Month, and what's happening during the entire course of the month. And not only our young people, but our stakeholders, parents, support our young people, because a little support goes a long way, and we know our young people sometimes just need that little push to get them going. So I'm encouraging everybody in your respective communities to support our young people, support them, show up. I think some of them will be raising funds for the District Youth and Sports Councils or their different clubs, support the young people.
Thank you for that. Amen to that, very much so. We need to give support to the young people. And of course, we did hear all your activities, some of them, but am I correct to say that you have a Facebook page? The NYC has a Facebook page,
yes,
where persons would be able to go ahead and get this same information. So persons who don't remember or wants to be reminded of what's happening with NYC can go on the Facebook page, of course, to get a list of activities that are happening for Youth Month. Okay, and I was about to ask you, Miss, is it only open for the youth? And of course, you just answered me when you said that stakeholders, especially parents and so on, are invited to come along to these activities. Okay.
Let me just touch on the social media aspect of it. So we are across all social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're also on Twitter, well, X, formerly known to be Twitter. And you can find us at St. Lucia National Youth Council on Facebook, NYC St. Lucia on Instagram, and NYC St. Lucia on X, Twitter. So engage with us, whatever questions or queries that you may have, feel free. Also, if you're a stakeholder or corporate St. Lucia looking to collaborate with the NYC, feel free. You can also reach us via email at nycclucia@gmail.com. We're open to collaboration as long as, it builds opportunities or it builds bridges between the gaps of opportunity for our young people.
Thank you so much for that. Very much so. Ms. St. Rose, before we continue and delve more into the activities and so on for Youth Month, just for the public, I did meet a young person who did tell me that they were interested in joining a youth group. Could you give us some information as to how? I mean, not now, because of course the executive has just been chosen, but in the future, how can a youth join a youth group in terms of the councils, the youth councils in the different communities or even the NYC?
Yes, so you're referring to the district youth and sports councils?
Yes.
So that'll be separate from youth groups. Okay, so the district youth and youth sports councils, probably some of them have 9, but the 7 to 9 executive team would comprise of, the president, secretary, vice president, PRO, treasurer, etc. Right? That would be the core exec. However, I know most DYSCs, SUFRA included, have something called subcommittees. And on those subcommittees, you can volunteer your time to assist with any activity that you're having. In SUFRA, we have the Youth Development Subcommittee and the Sports Subcommittee, which we'll be putting into action as we have more activities coming along. But those subcommittees basically give young people the opportunity to serve, to be part of, that whole volunteering space. And because as we notice, the art of volunteerism is dying. People don't volunteer as they used to before. So we want to give young people an opportunity to, not only take up space, but to be productively engaged in the youth space. So my advice would be to stay open to flyers and brochures about volunteers that are needed for those subcommittees. And when you see it, do take the chance and apply.
Okay.
To be part and
But
parcel of it.
what if I'm a youth and I actually want to be part of the executive of one of these district councils, the youth councils?
Okay.
How would I go about getting on board?
Okay, so the District Youth and Sports Council executive is after a 2-year tenure. So you would have to wait until the current executive's tenure has ended and then apply to whatever position that you're looking to go into, apply for that to be part of the executive of the District Youth and Sports Council.
Okay. Would this young person need any specific talents or would need certain personalities, certain qualifications?
No, what you do need, however, is a drive for youth work, a passion for youth work, because it's not something that's easy. But once you're willing to put in the work, once there is some passion in wanting young people to do better, inspiring young people, changing young people's lives positively, then you qualify to be on those DYSs.
Okay, thank you so very much. So persons who are listening, you heard Ms. St. Rose on how you can come on board, because I know that's one question I've been asked, which I could not totally answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you so much. Ms. St. Rose, so you're a newly formed executive of the NYC. Can you tell us some of the plans that you have for the youth as the new elected executive for NYC?
Okay, where do I begin? The National Youth Council, and I've said it in a number of interviews that I've done, our goal right now is really to revitalize the NYC. And that would include bringing back that pride and trust, what people knew NYC to be. What growing up, when I heard about NYC, it was this, this big youth organization that I always wanted to be part of. And as I've grown older, that sort of has diminished because of different experiences that NYC has outlived. However, this current executive, our goal really is right now we're focusing on building that groundwork, being familiar with our stakeholders, being familiar with the young people that we serve, being familiar with not only the students, entrepreneurs, the young people that we serve generally, but not only those who are part and parcel of the youth space, but young people who are unattached, young people who are at risk, young people who don't know what their next moves are. So we want people to know that there is this parent body who is there to take the lead for them, who is there to try to get opportunities to match them. And right now we're doing so by having a number of stakeholder meetings. So we've met with Minister Kenson, we've had a number of meetings with Ministry of Education. Right now we're working on a strategic plan with the Ministry of Education called SPE, and it's basically targeting youth at risk and youth who have dropped out of school and finding opportunities for them. Not finding opportunities for them, but matching them with opportunities, whether it is mentorship, whether it is mental health, whether it is pairing them with job opportunities. So we're working, but we're doing a lot of on-the-ground work right now. Separate and apart from that, we have a work plan that we've developed. So Youth Month is our first official activities that we're looking to do. But outside of Youth Month, we have a number of activities that we actually have to review to cut down because we don't want to overachieve. We don't want to extend ourselves and burn out too soon. So there is a review that's going to be happening with our work plan. So I can't really dive into exact details of the work plan as yet, but just be sure that everybody will be catered for. We have events planned in sports. We have debating competitions planned on a grand scale. We have mental health planned. We have trainings for young people across all sectors: entrepreneurship, resume writing, getting CVQs. We have a lot planned for our young people on a grand scale nationally, which we hope can touch the hearts of not only our young people who are, at the forefront and in youth work, but our young men who are probably on the blocks, our young men and women who have dropped out of school, our young people who feel like school is not for them, who feel they can get another avenue. So we're trying to tailor to every aspect of the whole youth environment to ensure that we don't only to reach those who we see all the time or those who are engaged and who are moving forward, but we especially want to get involved those who are unattached and to bring in those who are not familiar with being in youth groups or youth activities. So that is our concern, that is our motive right now with the NYC. So we have a full strong seven-member team, and I'm the president. We have Dequan Charles, who is the first vice. We have Edisa Eugene from SUFRA as well, second vice. We have the PRO, who is Phoebe from Viewfort. We have Alarica, who is the general secretary from MICU. We have Marcus, who is the assistant secretary from Castry Central. And we also have Nathan Hutchinson, who is our treasurer from Ancillary. So we have, a well-rounded team, and we're putting in the work, we're getting to know our stakeholders, both internally and externally, and we're seeing how we can, have collaborations with those stakeholders for our young people.
Very well said. And I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing a lot of these initiatives ongoing because, of course, not being in youth work, but being a social worker working around with young people and children, it's always a pleasure to hear that there will be activities that caters for the youth, especially the vulnerable. And this is one of the questions I was about to ask you. What is there for the vulnerable youth, the vulnerable children? Because of course, with the youth, those under 18, what is really there for them? So I did hear you say that not only your activities will not be catered only for those who are already out there, but also for those who are on the blocks. And this is what we're hoping. But I did hear you say that you're now just doing your groundwork, which is very impressive because when you get into something, it's just not, hey, I have this here and I'm going to do it, but you have to do your investigations as to how I can cater better for what I'm going to bring out there. That being said, could you give us maybe one example of one of the activities you have slated, if you have any, done for the vulnerable group?
Okay, so our activities are not, I wouldn't say it's activities for the vulnerable group, but part of our target is to meet them. So the collaboration I mentioned with Ministry of Education, and I will just pull up 1 second, called SP, that itself is targeted part and parcel of what we have planned for, not planned for them, but targeted towards them. And in that strategic plan, we have stakeholders such as CARE. We have the social department, and we're looking to target, like I said, a holistic approach to young people. So SP really stands for Education and Skills Pathway for at-risk youth. So we're not only targeting the academia, but we're seeing how we can target, the technical and vocational skills for those vulnerable and unattached youth. Separate and apart from that, mental health is very important. So we're looking to collaborate with our mental health stakeholders to see how we can provide counseling, how we can provide mentorship, and not only on a one-time basis, but something that is continuous, consistent, because getting those young people out of their situations, most time they go to the counseling, they get the help that they need, they get the opportunities, but when they go back into the environment, there's a lot of pressure, especially from their friends, from probably the situation they're in at home. Probably some of them are coming from abusive situations. So it's something that we have to work on, that it's continuous, to ensure that the impact we're looking for is on the level that we want it to be. But all of this, like I said, is still in conversation to ensure that we have a proper product that could impact the lives of those vulnerable, at-risk, and unattached youth.
Very impressive. I like that. Well done, well said. Good. That being said, persons you heard, and I'm thinking of the youth, right? And of course you would have, as you said, your stated activities and all, but is there any room for, if you have, especially on your committees or persons in the communities, do you have like community meetings where, since you're doing your groundwork, where you have persons coming in, meeting with the group? For example, if you're having a youth group meeting in Soufrière, for example, like the ministers do during politics, they do have, their committee meetings, and when they hear the plight of the youth, as in what is lacking, what can we do for you, what can we bring to the table, and listen to the ideas, listen to the complaints, and work on that. Is there anything stated around that? Okay,
so we don't have an open forum as yet. What we do have are scheduled meetings with our district youth and sports council. These are the people that we serve. These are the people who elected us. So currently there are 20 active district youth and sports councils across the island. So what we're doing, we're meeting with each and every one of those district youth and sports councils to find out what their challenges are, to see how we can, as their parent body, assist them in whatever the challenges that they face within their specific communities. So that is our focus right now. Probably after we've completed that 20 DYSC cycle, then we can probably have an open forum to those who are not part of the DYSCs, those who are not part of groups, who can come in to express their views, to express what they feel could be better in the youth sector. But for now, we're catering to those who basically brought us in, basically those who voted us in. These are who we answer to. These are who we answer to and vote on the decision making of the NYC. So that is our priority right now, going through the DYSCs to ensure that we are there with them, to know that we are there with them, and we can have their support in whatever that we do, because without our DYSCs, there is actually no NYC. All right, the NYC is not only the 7 members that I mentioned who are on the executive, but our NYC is all the district youth and sports councils right across the island and their affiliates. That is what makes NYC. So without them, there is no NYC. So we have to ensure that they feel that we're here with them, because it's not a Burnell thing, or it's not a executive thing, but rather a youth thing, National Youth Council. So we're tailoring to ensure that they're satisfied. We can meet their goals, we can meet their targets with them, and outside of that, probably then have an open forum where we invite other people to express what they feel.
Okay. But in saying so, I'm hearing that you have answered my question, because you may not do it directly as executive like you're saying, but of course, since you are in charge of the community groups, this is the youth groups, not the youth group, the youth councils in the different communities, they now will be bringing whatever cries, whatever pleas they have for their community to you. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, so basically the district youth and sports councils, obviously they would know their community, so they would know what challenges they face. So in that meeting, we expect for them to, let us know this is what they face, probably how to resolve those issues, how we can probably collaborate on certain activities or certain issues to bring that to curb those issues that they have. Yeah.
All right. Well said. So anytime I think of the NYC now, I think of it as an octopus.
Yes. So, that's exactly what it is. Yes.
So the NYC is the head and the tentacles will be the
our DYSCs.
All right. Great. Awesome. Right. I'm happy to hear that. So right now she makes me feel like I wish I was a youth. So I could be on board. But yes, very good work. And initiatives like that, we need to commend it, and of course we need to encourage it, because before you came in, I was saying that so many persons always say that the youth does not have a voice, but this is somewhat incorrect right now, because with the NYC, this is what you're doing, giving the youth a voice.
That's right.
To come out there and speak. And I was saying before you came as well, that one of the activities that you have that I really love is the parliamentary debates, like
youth parliament.
Youth parliament, right? So, at what ages do persons get into
youth parliament?
Youth parliament.
I think it's from 16 onwards. I think the cutoff is 35, but it's from 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
As the NYC, what ages do you target to work with? Let me see how I can say that. What ages do you look at to work with? I know the youth age is from 18 to 35?
16 to
35. But do you, as the NYC, if they were to have a group of younger children, would you as well work with them?
Of course. And I believe that starting with grassroots is important, because that's when they're easily influenced. That's when that's their most vulnerable stage. So, of course, if we get to work with grassroots, we will. But I believe that the youth policy actually lowered the age. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know the youth policy, because we haven't really met with the ministry on the youth policy, our youth policy. So I'm not sure what age it was lowered to, but in conversations that I had recently, I heard that it was lowered. But we are open and willing to work with the grassroots. I don't think the fact that it says 16 to 45 that we blocked off 15 down. We're open.
I'm happy to hear that, yes.
We're open to working with all young people. Once we can impact and make a change in their lives, it is something that we're going to do.
Yeah, because there was one thing I was just saying earlier, that sometimes you get so much talent in particular communities. For example, there are outstanding students, outstanding athletes, outstanding readers, outstanding whatever they may be at in arts. These children coming from a primary school going into a secondary school, and you find these talents are not harnessed, so you lose them along the way. Would you? Well, I know right now you cannot directly tell me that, hey, we have this program, but do you think this could be featured within NYC, where in the communities where the talents, like a talent search, and be worked upon? For example, I'm saying that to say, for example, we have the reading competition, and it's from ages 9 to 10. That's why I asked about the younger students. And sometimes after the reading competition, especially the boys who are very good readers, you don't hear anything about them again. It's like they've lost, especially when they go to a secondary school. So do you think that maybe the NYC can advocate on behalf of children, the talented children who are below the age of 16?
Of course, and actually, our work plan had an activity that was catered to the primary school students. It was one of it was a spelling bee, and one of it was similar to the debate we had for secondary schools, but on a lesser scale because they were younger students.
Yeah.
So we have activities in our work plan catered to the primary school students. So our focus is not only secondary school; we're going to be touching the primary schools as well.
I'm very happy to hear that because many times, and sorry to say that people do not take my neck, but I'm happy that our president is actually from the South. I'm happy to hear that. And I'll tell you why it is. Because so many times the focus is up north. And of course, I'm going to say it, the focus is up north. And you find, again, with our talents down south, not much is being done. Like you have the athletic groups down south, the swimming groups down south, and not much is being done with them. Not I do not know what is the issue. Whether it is that they're not getting in proper funding, whether it is that there's no resource persons coming to them or so on. So Miss St. Rose asking as a representative not only for St. Lucia but especially the South. Now the South is given some love, a little more love.
Even on a national scale, we have noticed, well, let me speak to the exec. So our approach is a lot more decentralized. So even with our meetings, we would come to the South. We had a retreat on the weekend. The last weekend, we had a national executive retreat where, different persons came in to speak to us. And it was from Friday to Sunday. And guess what it was? It was in Soufrière. So,
Awesome.
so we're decentralizing. We've also had meetings in Beaufort because one of our members are from Beaufort. It's from Beaufort, sorry. So we're giving a little, each side of the island a little something. Well, with regards to national events, the events that we put on, it will be decentralized. We have a bonfire on the 17th of April, and that will be happening in Canals Miku. We have also another activity that we haven't really set in stone, which we'll probably be having somewhere in the South. So, we're decentralizing. When the North will get its time, Soufrière will get its time, the South, So it's not something that we're focusing only on the North or only on the South, but ensuring that, because remember, we represent DYSCs across the island. So we're ensuring that, so we can have something in the West, something in the East, something in the North, something in the South, so that we could also reach different targets, different young people. Because we realize that sometimes when you have those events in the North, you see the same faces all the time. So, when we go to the South, you see a different set of people. When you go to the West, you see a different set, and the East as well. So, it's a decentralized approach that we're looking at in the NYC.
I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So like I said, I know that some persons will not be happy with me saying that, but it is really the truth because you find mostly every activity is in the North. Our sportsmates was brought back to the North. Even I'm hearing persons talking about the grounds. And of course, we have the stadium, which is well equipped in Soufrière to host our athletes. But like I said, I do not want to speak on what I do not know, but I only speak on what I observe. Okay? So I'm happy to hear that, of course, the activities will be decentralized, and not just the activities, but the focus on young people will not just be for persons in the North as such, but also for persons in the South. And Ms. St. Rose, it is heartwarming to hear that, of course, your focus will not just be on the stated age for the youth, but also for younger persons. And what would really warm my heart as well, because not only April observes Youth Month, but it's also tomorrow is World Autism Day, where it is going to be observed in blue. So special education is very close to my heart, persons with disabilities. So it would be lovely to see at least NYC embrace persons with disabilities as well, especially the youths. When I look around and I see the special education centers, the stigma attached to these centers, and so much that the children are doing. And my apologies, as I've always said, for special education centers around, but I like to speak to what I know. So I'm going to use Vieux Fort as an example, not because I favor them, but because I'm seeing what is happening. So my apologies for anywhere else. I know you're doing your best, and of course, every center is doing what they have to do. As I said, I'm using Vieux Fort as an example that I'm seeing they have students who are doing the culinary arts. There are students who are very good athletes. There are students, a wide range of they do a wide range of activities, and children who have a wide range of talents. So it would be nice to know that the NYC can, of course, include some of these students into their plans, into their focus.
For sure. I mean, we have spoken about, we don't, like I said, we have touched on the young people who are active and engaged, but part of our motive as well is not only unattached and at-risk, but on the differently abled. And that is something we have spoke about, and we're looking to see how we can collaborate with the special ed schools or just the community on the whole to show that we represent you as well, because that's an area probably that NYC has not probably tapped into fully in prior times. So it's something that we're looking at on the agenda for us to look at to see how we can meet that.
She keeps putting a smile on my face. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to you, Miss St. Rose. I'm hearing a lot of positive things. And like I tell people, my thing is not in the saying, but in the doing. So my eyes will be on you, Miss St. Rose, especially being from Soufrière. And I must say thank you so very much. I am very impressed with what I've heard thus far. And of course, we look to work collaboratively with the NYC as social services, like you mentioned, and other agencies to see that, of course, a difference is made and a lot of your activities come to fruition. So kudos to that.
Thank you.
Yes. So anything else would you like to say, because our time is almost up? I was really warned about my time too. Yes.
I just want to say again, thank you. The St. Lucia National Youth Council wants to say thank you, for the support thus far. We've had a lot of persons, a lot of stakeholders rallying with us thus far. Despite us being a fairly new council, we've given people hope that there will be better. It's not only about, like you say, just the talking, but ensure that the actions match what we do. And me being president, I will ensure that whatever we set out to do, that we will do it, and we will do it well. This is the goal of the executive. We have a very strong team, very capable, very passionate young people who are willing to put in the work, who understands, the severity of youth development, especially now, seeing that, all around us, the world is so heavy. When you go to social media, there's, comparison, you watch international news, there's so much happening globally. Even at home, we're losing a lot of our young men. And, we understand the severity right now of bringing that breath of fresh air, bring that positivity, bring that light to young people. And we're not saying it will be easy, because it will not be easy. We're in for a challenge, and a huge one at that, but we believe in the power of collaboration. It does not take NYC alone. It does not take Ministry of Youth Development. It does not take our Honorable Emma Hippolyte. It takes a collaborative approach across all sectors. So our parents, the schools, the teachers, our coaches, our friends, the fishermen. It takes a collaborative approach across every single sector. Do not think that there's no way you can impact a young person. You can. Growing up, there is this saying, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's no different now. That village may not be your current village as in your community, but what are we doing in our own spaces as stakeholders, even corporates in which corporate you do have your part as well, to invest in those talents, to provide those opportunities for our young people. And that is why the NYC is there, and that is what's motivating us, because we understand understand the need for that approach right now, especially right now. We understand how important it is, to keep our young people afloat, especially now our mental health is deteriorating. There's a lot happening and people don't understand, and it's something I'm very passionate about. But we're here. The good thing is we're here, and we understand what it is. We understand what it is, especially on the ground, and we're willing to do the work. We're willing to put in the work, and we're looking forward to you, our stakeholders, to keep us accountable. Keep us accountable. If you don't see or hear from us, send us a message. If you feel like an activity, there is something that we could be done that we're not meeting a certain aspect of our young people or a certain space, drop a suggestion. We have, like I've said earlier, we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. You can email us. I mean, most of you know me and Sufre. Most of you know Edisa as well. Wherever you are across the island, reach out to us. Give us your suggestions. We have a number of meetings coming up with persons who are looking to collaborate. We have events with men coming up. We have esports. We have so many meetings with persons who are looking to collaborate to meet different areas of youth spaces to meet different target groups. So we're open to the collaboration. And we're open to, like I said earlier, bridging that gap, providing that bridge between our young people and the opportunities, just bringing that bridge together to ensure that, they're productively engaged, because the devil loves an idle mind. And we don't want our young people idle at all. So thank you for the support. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, honestly, serving on the NYC and giving my time to young people. It is something I've always been passionate about from the time I knew myself. I've been involved in youth folk from about 10 years. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I will continue to do as long as I have life. So thank you. And just look forward to support the Youth Month activities, take part in the Youth Month activities. Those in Sufre, support our activities. We have the training, which is catered to mostly secondary school students. But if you do have the time on the 7th and the 8th, register. There are limited spots available. The form will be dropped out sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. So apply, attend, increase your base, go forward, push yourself forward, take charge of those opportunities. Take up space. You never know, it will turn your life around. Take up space. There are a number of other Youth Month activities happening, so you could check out the calendar. Whatever you want to attend, you can support our other district youth and sports councils, as well as the youth focus who have taken time out to prepare those activities for our young people. So thank you, and I look forward to more engagement in the future.
Thank you so much. The enthusiastic Miss St. Rose. I love the energy. Honestly, I really do. It's a difference. So thank you so very much. And of course, you've heard Miss St. Rose. If you cannot reach her, persons, there's the media platforms where you can go on and see what the NYC has and get engaged youth, and stop saying there's no avenue for you. And this is the reason why Miss St. Rose is here to tell you so much that's in store for the youth. So get yourself engaged. As she said, you can go on the different platforms. Of course, get involved, audition, register, whatever it is you need to do, get involved. And earlier when I asked if there was an open forum for persons, she just answered it again. She said, drop a message. If you cannot see her, you don't know her personally, but leave a message, leave a suggestion, leave something in the group. All right, so the NYC is here to work with you. The NYC is here to make a difference. So let's give them that opportunity and support. Okay, thank you so very much again, Ms. Sanders. It was really a pleasure. All right, and I look forward to more engagements in the future.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. All right.